Hello everyone, welcome back to Assonation. So on the episode today, we want to look at simple DIY fix for a condition here that some of you may be knowing. So we have a Range Rover Vogue that has the 4.4 V8 BMW unit. So this engine was fitted on several BMWs as well as Ford units. That is the 7 Series 740i, which used to come with this 4.4 V8 engine. So the problem we want to tackle here today is that the car is smoking a lot. The car is producing white smoke. So on startup, everything looks fine until when it just warms up and it starts to smoke a lot. So I will just jump here and start the car, and then we will see how the smoke is. The car fires right up. So we have several conditions that may make your car smoke. So condition number one, there's different types of smoke that your car might emit, which would show you a few things. So on cold startup, there is not really any smoke, but as it warms up or when you begin revving it, then the smoke is a lot. If you take it to the road, you would be blinding everybody behind you. So the issue here, number one, if you see smoke coming from your exhaust, black smoke normally means that your car is running a lot of fuel that is going into the system, but there is not enough air to match it, so the system is running rich. The other type of smoke is blue smoke. If you see blue smoke coming out of your exhaust pipes, then that only means that your car is burning engine oil. So that would probably point out to something like worn out piston rings that are making your car, that oil is seeping through the combustion chamber and being burned right in the middle of things, and that would definitely mean that your car needs attention in terms of your piston rings. And then we have white smoke. White smoke can come out in two different ways. So the first signs of white smoke, if you notice your car has white smoke that has some funny sweet smell kind of, then that would mean your car is burning coolant. So there is a problem with the cooling system, and therefore your head gasket has a problem. Therefore your car is heating up coolant into the system. And then there's the other type of white smoke that this car has. I'm just trying to rev it up so that it can start smoking, and then we could be able to show you guys. So the other thing is when there is white smoke, excessive white smoke, normally what happens, we have two options or two components, which are vacuum release valves. One of it is the crankcase ventilation for some other manufacturer or some other cars, and then for other cars we have the positive crank ventilation, Pcv valve. So when the Pcv valve fails, inside here we have a diaphragm. So when the pistons run up and down, normally when they come up, they create compression for power for your car. When they move down, there is that back pressure that is pushed back into the crankcase or into the sump of your car. So that pressure that is pushed into the sump by the piston moving down is recirculated back into the intake manifold through the use of ventilation valve, crankcase ventilation valve, and for that matter the positive crank ventilation valve, the PCV. So when the PCV fails, the diaphragm in here is supposed to separate the air from the oil that is in the top cover, and then get only the air through the vacuum hose, only the air here through the vacuum hose into the intake manifold to reuse the air. So if the diaphragm in there fails and then oil starts seeping back into the intake manifold here, you will have oil sitting in your intake manifold, and then the car will start now getting that very oil into the combustion chamber. Now, when this oil gets into the combustion chamber, this is where now we have white smoke coming behind your car, coming through your tailpipes. And that is how we want to tackle this white smoke coming out of the tailpipe, which means the car is burning oil. That leads to a failing PCV valve. So we will open it up and then show you how much oil is in here and continue from there. So as we were looking into the problem, our suspect was the PCV valve, as I had told you. So how this works is there's a diaphragm here that has a valve. So this thing should be one way. So all the pressure that comes back from the pistons going down builds up pressure into the oil sump. So that air is recirculated to come back into the inlet manifold by the PCV valve. So the valve should only bring air back into the inlet. But when the diaphragm fails, now oil from the top cover here starts seeping through back into the PCV valve and then getting through into the inlet manifold. So as you can see, we've gotten the inlet manifold out here. This is bank 1, bank 2, and those are the inlet holes. You can see the fuel injectors, the injector rails are out. So what we can see here, as we suspected, we have this amount of oil, these drops here that have come out of the inlet manifold. This is the manifold. So looking in here, you can see that there is some oil. A lot of it has been burned, a lot of it has been thrown back to the exhaust, which is what is producing the white smoke. So our job now is to clean up this manifold and then clean up everything here, order another PCV valve, replace it, fire it up, and then make sure again we don't have smoke. So you can see that that is what is causing smoke, and you do that. The PCV valve is a culprit. Some people will still call it as the CCV valve, crankcase ventilation, or the positive crank ventilation valve, which is what causes white smoke. So when you see white smoke coming out of your tailpipes, white smoke, a lot of white smoke that when you drive your car, you sort of blind the people who are behind you, or you can't even see the people who are driving behind you. Chances are that you are burning oil, you're getting oil into your combustion chamber, and that normally points out to things like PCV or a leaking top cover gasket, or a leaking top cover itself that is getting oil back into the combustion chamber. This is different from white smoke that is produced by burning coolant. So if you're burning coolant, you'll also have white smoke, but you'll have a smell that is somehow sweet, which will mean you're burning coolant. For this, you'll start smelling oil in your exhaust and a lot of white smoke. So that is how you sort it, and that is what has been causing that. And this is on a Range Rover Vogue 4.4 AJ V8. So thanks guys, I hope you have enjoyed knowing and learning about it.